What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Biblical Bees. I hope you guys had a great week. This past week, great couple days. I had a pretty good week. But it's time. It's Monday. It's time for another episode. More information, new information, or if some of the things that I talk about you may never heard before. But we are back. Like I said the last episode, I want to start incorporating something where I give people shout outs for listening, for supporting, just taking the time out of their day, you know, just to listen to little old me. So last episode, I shouted out the people from the UK. They had got a shout out last episode. This episode, I'm going to give a random shout out to the people that's in Pennsylvania that's listening. Shout out to you guys. I see you guys listening. I see you guys tapping in every week. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support that you guys have been given. But yeah, shout out to the folks in Pennsylvania. And then at the end, I will give another shout out of someone, not that these aren't people, but like an actual person. Last week I had gave a shout out from the Facebook account. This time I will be giving a shout out from the TikTok account. So stay tuned, listen, because you never know, you might get picked. You never know. But yeah, we're just gonna hop right into it. So today we are going to be talking about rest. I don't know about you guys, but I think I've told you guys before that I'm in college and this is my last year being in school, and it's been going. It really has been going. This is week 7. I want to say 7, 6, week 7, definitely week 7. But yeah, it's week 7 right now, and lately I've been kind of feeling tired, feeling a little exhausted just from the amount of work that I've been having. Sometimes I can have a week where I only have maybe 3 to 5 assignments due, and then I'll have like another week where there's like 7 assignments due just on Sunday, not even including assignments that's due during the week. So sometimes it can definitely be very overwhelming, and I am involved in other stuff, you know, and just even having to go to work and, classes and, different things like that. Sometimes it can be a lot, make sure I get stuff turned in on time and, all of that. So it's definitely been a lot. And I've been feeling very tired. Physically, sometimes I do not want to get out of bed when I wake up. Mentally, I'm like, oh, my brain, like I can't. Sometimes it really can just be very tiring. And so I wanted to give you guys this scripture to kind of encourage you guys in case you guys may be going through this, whether you're in high school, college, or whether you're just an adult working your full-time job and you're, tired or exhausted from working. So the scripture that I have is Matthew chapter 11, and we're starting in verse 28, going to verse 30, which says, "Then Jesus said, 'Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and the burden I give you is light.'" I really like this scripture because in the first verse, Jesus is literally telling us, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest." I really like that because Jesus is inviting us to be able to get that rest. He's telling us, "Give me everything it is that you are carrying, and I will give you the rest that you need." And honestly, when you're a student, like me, or like I said, have a full-time job, different things like that, it can sometimes the workload can be heavy. It really can. I know for some of my friends have majors where they're nonstop working. Thankfully, my major is not like that. But I still have my times where I have a lot of notes to catch up on, or we have lecture slides of 40 different, like, what I'm saying, all this stuff, exams, quizzes, just different things like that. That can be a lot. And just as people, we carry so many responsibilities and expectations, but this verse tells us that we don't have to do it all alone. We don't have to carry it by ourselves. Jesus wants us to bring those to him. Whether you may go to him in prayer, whatever it may be, he wants us to bring whatever it is that we are carrying. He wants us to bring it to him. He does not want us to see us struggling and just being overwhelmed with everything going on. He wants us to take it to him, give it to him, so he can give us that rest. And sometimes, rest doesn't always mean taking a nap. I know for my case, I love naps. I love taking naps. Sometimes rest can be about letting things go. Or maybe if you're stressed, maybe just taking a second to just get whatever that is that's stressing you out, getting rid of that. Or sometimes it could be just even sitting with God, having rest with just being with him and having that intimate time with him. And in those times, just letting him remind you that you are enough, even if everything isn't perfect. Because he knows we're not perfect. He knows he knows that we're going to stumble. And sometimes there are days where, assignments are due at 11:59 and I'm, up doing those assignments when I'm very exhausted. And sometimes I still feel very behind, even when I turn in those assignments or when I'm copying my notes and I take a break. I feel like me just taking that little break, I just feel like I'm just getting more behind. But I think when reading this verse, it kind of reminds me that my worth is not based on getting these assignments done or copying these notes. Jesus cares about my heart and what I have going on more than my homework. You know, and during those times, he's gentle and he's humble and he understands the things that we struggle with. And he doesn't judge us for being tired. He knows that, we're working hard. We're trying to, whether it may be supporting our families, trying to, get good grades in school, whatever it may be. He knows that during those times that we may struggle. But he's not going to judge us for being tired. But like it says in verse 28, he wants us to bring everything to him. That way, instead of us being so tired and so exhausted, we can get the rest that we need from him. Because he's telling us to bring it to him, to give everything to him. He's telling us, come to me, all of you who are weary, and have those heavy burdens, and he will give us rest. And sometimes for myself, we all know TikTok, we all may have it, and sometimes we think just having rest could be laying down scrolling on TikTok or binging Netflix all day. And yeah, they might feel comfortable, they might feel like I'm resting, and they might help for the time being, but that's not real rest. Those things that we love to do so much, and those things that we, TV, playing the game, different things like that, those will not allow us to have that rest that we need. Because when we are mentally tired, when our soul is tired, those distractions won't be able to heal that or take that away. But when we have that spiritual rest, the kind that Jesus talks about, is when we can allow our heart to let go of all the worry, whatever pressure we may have or we may feel, and we can just rest in him. That is the rest that we need, is that spiritual rest. Sometimes something that we can do is just slow down. Close your computer, turn off your phone, turn off your TV, and just sit there and just say, God, I'm tired, but I'm here. I'm here with you. Let him know that we are here and that we may be tired, but let him know that we're here. And so, maybe that's a reminder that you may need for this week. You know, you don't have to do all these things and try to escape from the rest that you need. Just go to him. That's what he's calling us to do. That is literally what he's calling us to do. So I just want to say, if lately you've been, tired or feeling overwhelmed, and maybe that's you right now listening, maybe it's time for you to just take a pause, take a breath, and just talk to God. Remind yourself those times that you are tired, or you may feel like you need that rest, or you feel like you just feel so heavy that you're carrying all this weight on you. Remind yourself that Jesus tells us in verse 28, come to me. He says, come to me. You don't have to do it alone. His peace is always available to us. Even in the middle of your school week, even in the middle of you doing something at your job, whatever it may be, you don't have to do it alone. And he doesn't want us to do it alone. That's why he tells us to go to him when we feel this way. So maybe that is what we needed to hear, including myself. Rest isn't something that we earn whenever something is done. Yeah, it feels good. Like, oh, I just finished all this work. Now I can sit down, now I can take a nap. Yeah, it feels good, but we shouldn't have to earn rest. Rest is something that we receive when we go to Jesus as you are. As we are. You know, that's something that we receive when we go to him, because he says he will give us rest. He'll give it to us. So as you go into this week, I want you to think for yourself, what does rest look like you for this week? And how can you make space for God in it? And I just want you to think about that, because like I said, rest may look different for different people. Sometimes rest for some people may be listening to worship music and just sitting and relaxing, or some people it may be to read their Bible, or some people they just sit in silence and just hear what God has to tell them. It's different for everyone. But what does it look like for you? Whether it's today, tomorrow, the rest of the week, what does it look like for you, and how can you make space for God while you're getting that rest? So, I hope that was some helpful encouragement to you guys, because I know that that's something that I've been dealing with, is just having a lot of work to do and just doing a lot and just feeling so tired, especially, after the long weekend and coming back Sunday, have school on Monday. Sometimes I can be very tired. So, even that's something for myself that I can take into consideration as I'm telling you guys as well. I'm telling you guys from my experience how that is for me, just being so tired. So, along with you guys, that's something the question I just said is something that I'll be thinking about as well. What can rest look like for me this week? How can I incorporate me being able to get rest this week and going to God to get that rest? So I hope that was helpful for you guys, and I hope that you guys think about that question throughout your week. But yeah, that is all I have for today. I hope that you guys really enjoyed that, because I know we're humans. We go through a lot, and things can be a lot for us. But I just wanted to encourage and remind you guys that we can get that rest that we need if we go to Jesus. So I thank you guys so much for listening. But I have not forgot about our shout out from our TikTok. So last time I went on Facebook and I just randomly scrolled and just tapped a name. So I'm going to do the same thing for the TikTok. And the person that has gotten the TikTok shout out is Caitlin Bernard, my good friend here at school. I thank you so much for listening, giving just great support, taking the time out of your day to listen. I truly, truly thank you more than you will ever know. But yeah, shout out to Caitlin. So yeah, I thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys are. If you're not plugged into the TikTok, I'll leave that down in the description for you guys to see, like always, along with the Instagram and Facebook and the scripture that I read today. That will also be down there. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy and hope that you guys stay tuned. And I will catch you guys on next week's episode. Peace.